When I was going to dialysis, I noticed a lot of cultural disconnect between the workers and the patients. You get the people that come over here internationally, and they don't try to acclimate themselves to like the culture in the country in which they're living. So instead of trying to learn about the people, they want you to acclimate to them. So they end up making little microcosms of where they came from, wherever they are. So there's no incentive for them to learn anything about the people that they're going to be taking care of. This is specifically about dialysis, and I've experienced this. Why, from their point of view, why should I learn anything about this black guy when I'm surrounded by people from my own culture, from my own race that talk like me, think like me, eat the same foods I do, watch the same shows, that have similar mindset and religious beliefs? So I'm going to interact with this particular patient the same way I would a patient from my own country. But the issue is that we're not in your country. You're not in your country. You're in a different country, you're dealing with different people. So your mindset has to change accordingly in order for you to be better at what you do as your job. And I get it. A lot of people internationally, the countries they come from are in poverty, right? Like they don't have the abundance that we have here in America, right? Like medical coverage is very difficult to come by in some of these countries, and they got to pay out of pocket for dialysis. So when they look at you getting dialysis essentially for free because of insurance and all that stuff, they look at you like, why are you bitching about this? You get dialysis and don't have to pay out of pocket for. Tragedy is tragedy. It doesn't matter where it happens. The same kidney disease that affects people where they came from is the same kidney disease that affects people here. There's no difference. You know, the organs failing is the organs failing. And nobody should be shamed for that because of where they live. And there's this breakdown in communication because neither of you are talking about the same things, because you don't understand each other. And you run into certain individuals that aren't there because they care. They're there because they want to take the US dollar and then send it back home. So there's this lack of caring or indifference to you when it comes to your care or what happens to you. And as a patient, that can become very frustrating because you express that frustration to the individuals who you think are going to really like do something about it. But the issue is that their boss is from the same town or city or province or whatever that they're from their country. So they're going to get together with them. They're going to talk about it. They're going to laugh at you. And then the behavior or whatever it is going to continue. If not, it's going to get worse. Then they're going to start ignoring you. And I've experienced this. They're going to start putting you in little corners by yourself. They're going to not check on you. They're going to do their vitals. They're going to do the bare minimum of how to do the job. And then they're going to walk off back to their desk and they're going to speak in their language to their people and they're going to laugh at you. If you get sad about this, or you get depressed, or if you cry, there's been many a times where I've cried about this. And they just look at you because they don't understand. They don't want to understand you. And then they'll go back to their desk with their work, with their employees, and then they'll just laugh at you. Now, I want to be clear. This is not a generalization, despite how this feels. And this is not me walking it back, because there's some workers that legitimately do care, but I find that that's few and far between. When I was on dialysis just recently, just 4 months ago, I had a dialysis nurse named Frank. He was a dialysis nurse technician, and Frank helped me throughout the entirety of my time on dialysis, I went to a lot of dialysis centers, and I ran into a lot of assholes in those dialysis centers that exhibited the same things that I'm telling you now. But Frank was like the best nurse. And he was the one that trained me how to do dialysis on my own when I had to stop going to the centers. No, when I stopped for a little bit, going to the dialysis centers that I was going to because I relocated to another city. I wanted to get Frank again so that way he could be my nurse, because I was so happy with his work, the way he treated me. You know, like we developed a acquaintancy. And I've had workers that had the mentality of I'm just some dumb American. I'm just some stupid American. And to make it worse, I'm also black, so that makes it even worse. He's not as good as us that's working here from my country, so we're going to treat him like garbage. We're going to neglect him. We're going to treat him like just a slab of meat. And we're going to reserve all the best parts of our hospitality, our compassion, and we're going to reserve that for our own people. And we're going to make sure that they succeed. We're going to make sure that we push for them to get transplants. And this guy and anybody that looks like him or anybody that's from the same country as him, we're going to let that fall to the wayside because they don't matter to us. All of this stuff I'm saying to you are things that I wish I understood when I first went into a dialysis center, because I feel like if I had this information previously, my time on dialysis would have been a lot smoother. I would have had less turmoil, and I would have been a lot less angry. I would have had far lesser angry days. So it is something to be cognitive of. It is something that is happening. Regardless of what anybody may say, this is happening. That's like the same kind of people that say kidney transplant, people that get picked for transplant, it's not about race. I disagree, but okay. But like in these dialysis centers, this is stuff that's happening. And when you see more than one type of person, or their entire staff is comprised of people from a certain culture, then there's a high probability that you might run into that. And that's something that you should be cognitive of. I've found that the best type of dialysis centers are ones that have multiple different cultures, multiple different races, multiple different people that speak different languages, because now they're forced into close proximity with each other. So now, in order to get the job done, they have to understand each other. It's a necessity for survival on the job. If you experience this, understand that it is a real thing and it's not in your head.